All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on the unseen war against terror. We're going to talk about the stories of the attacks that were stopped cold long before they ever had a chance to make headlines. So, think about this for a second. We always hear about the bad things that happen, right? The crises, the attacks. But what about the ones that didn't? That's what we're digging into today. The major plots that were thwarted, sometimes just in the nick of time. Because back in 2025, while most of India was just going about its daily business, a completely different, covert war was being fought behind the scenes. Security agencies were in a constant, high-stakes battle to stop some truly catastrophic attacks. So let's get into it. First up, let's talk about unconventional threats. Because if you think you know what a terrorist looks like, you might need to think again. The modern battlefield is full of surprises, and often the biggest dangers are hiding in plain sight.
And this first case is a perfect, and honestly a chilling example. The Gujar Anti-Terrorism Squad, or ATS, uncovered a plot linked to ISIS. The alleged mastermind, a doctor. And the goal? A mass chemical attack. It's pretty shocking stuff.
When the authorities conducted their raids, they found more than just the usual pistols and ammo. They found castor bean extracts. And if you know what those are used for, you know this points to a plan that was way more sinister than a conventional bombing.
Just to put this into perspective for you, ricin is unbelievably lethal. A speck of it, barely visible, can be fatal. And this wasn't just some fantasy. The terror cell had apparently already scouted out potential targets in major cities. We're talking Ahmedabad, Lucknow, and Delhi. This was a concrete plan, and it was foiled just in time. But here's the thing. This discovery was really just the tip of the iceberg. It was the loose thread that, when pulled, unraveled a much larger network of people, many of them from very respectable professions, who were secretly supporting extremist groups. In one massive 30-day operation, agencies arrested over 40 people. Now, this wasn't just one small, isolated group. This was a coordinated takedown of a huge, sprawling network. The sheer number of arrests really tells you the scale of the threat that was brewing under the surface. And what's really alarming is who these operatives allegedly were. Not what you might picture. We're talking about educated professionals, doctors, clerics, people in positions of trust who were allegedly using that trust as the perfect cover for their involvement with groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. I mean, just look at these numbers. They really paint a picture of the success here. In a single month, 8 major terror plots were completely neutralized. And they seized nearly 3,000 kilograms of explosives. That's an incredible amount, enough to prevent a whole series of absolutely devastating attacks. And this brings us to how this war is evolving. The new battlefield isn't always physical. A lot of the time, it's digital. It's being fought across the internet, on social media, and in those encrypted chat apps that we all have on our phones. For example, the Gujarat ATS took down this really sophisticated Al-Qaeda module that was operating entirely online. They had this whole pipeline set up. First, they'd spread propaganda. Then they'd start recruiting young people on social media. After that, they'd pull them into encrypted chats to coordinate. And finally, they'd get their orders from foreign handlers. These are people based abroad who are directing the operations. The entire digital assembly line was taken down. And it wasn't just Al-Qaeda using the internet this way. In a completely separate operation, the Delhi Police Special Cell broke up an ISIS-inspired network. This group was spread across several states, and its members were apparently learning how to build bombs by watching online tutorials. And this table really shows you just how wide their net was cast. You had operatives in Delhi and Mumbai actually working on making IEDs. Meanwhile, their encrypted communications were being run out of Hyderabad, and they were coordinating with handlers based in Jharkhand. It took a massive, multi-agency effort to shut this whole thing down. So even as all these new digital threats are popping up, the more, let's say, traditional regional insurgencies, well, they haven't gone anywhere. They still pose a huge danger, and they're often getting support from across the border. In Punjab, for instance, police dismantled several modules that were linked to Babar Khalsa International, allegedly with support from Pakistan's ISI. Their goal was pretty straightforward and brutal: to destabilize the whole area with targeted killings and bomb attacks. And check out what they seized: grenades, pistols, and IEDs made with RDX. That's powerful military-grade explosive material. Now, if we move further east over to Assam, another major plot was stopped dead in its tracks. This one was aimed at causing chaos during India's Independence Day celebrations. In this case, it was the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, that thwarted a conspiracy by the banned insurgent group ULFAI. Their plan was to set off multiple IEDs across Assam right on Independence Day. And as you can see, the whole thing was shut down. The plot was foiled, the operatives were arrested, and the explosives were seized. A major tragedy was absolutely prevented. So, what does this all tell us? You know, when we pull all of these different threads together, you really start to see a clear picture. It's a picture of an unseen, absolutely relentless war being fought every single day.
And the really crucial point here is just how diverse these threats are. We're talking chemical attack plots, widespread online recruitment, IED networks that cross state lines, and these persistent regional insurgencies. In 2025, it seems like India was facing threats from just about every direction you can imagine.
There's this quote that just perfectly captures what this is all about. It's the story of the battles that never reached our streets, because someone, somewhere, stopped them in time. And that's really the heart of it. The biggest victories are the ones that never ever make the news.
And I think that's the real takeaway here. It's a powerful reminder that when it comes to national security, silence is often golden. A day with no bad news, no incidents, that's not just a quiet day, that's a day of triumph. It's a testament to that silent shield that's holding strong. And that leaves us with one final, really tough question. When the threat can be a doctor, a cleric, or some kid who got radicalized on the internet, how do you even begin to defend against that? It makes the challenge infinitely more complex. It's a constant, evolving battle against threats that are designed to be invisible until it's far too late.